Thank you, George. Thank you very much. And I have to say a big thank you to all of you for coming here today for what I think is a really important starting event for us as the public sector in our various guises, our business sector as well, in thinking about how we work together and how we talk about what's such an important discussion. And I have to say, it comes at a time which is really difficult. I think on the back of the last 2 years, every single one of us thought that was the crisis of our century, and that was going to be the most difficult thing that we would all have faced, a global pandemic which has destroyed many people's lives. We've lost residents, and we've got families who are having to live with the consequences. We've got mental health concerns. We've got services that have been challenged in how they change and adapt to delivering through that. And I have to say a huge thank you to every single one of our own staff, and George, I take the liberty of that on behalf of you as well. They have been magnificent. And barely have we got to talking about normality, then we suddenly face the crisis of another century, which, oh dear, sorry, telephones. So I think it's really important to reflect at this point in time that the appalling situation in Ukraine, which is at the forefront of our minds at the moment, and I don't think any one of us will be not affected by this situation when we see the television and the pictures on our newspapers coming through, and our thoughts and our prayers are with the people of Ukraine. We wish for a swift end to conflict, whether we will in reality be able to see that. We want the pain and the suffering to end, and we want normality, a new word that we're going to be using an awful lot, to start to come back. But we can start to see the impact that conflict will have on us here for many years to come. So across the Coventry and Warwickshire footprint, which I'm sure you will hear much of today, our economy environment, and George has touched on it, has been such a key and important part. We are business friendly. We value our businesses. We want to support jobs, skills, and we want to grow this sector, this area. We need to be thinking today about the COVID crisis. We need to be thinking about the Ukrainian war, and more importantly, we need to be thinking about climate change and how this is impacting. So I am going to reduce down what I was going to say, because George has said it. All the best ideas are shared ideas, and that's what today is about. This is a chance to network, to have those conversations that we've all individually been having, and to start to form a way forward together across the public sector. What is our ambition across this area, and how can we shape that together and perhaps drive it forward a little faster? We build it on the back of the IPCC 6th assessment report and the latest warning about the consequence of inaction, the report which describes a rapidly closing window to secure livable future. It talks about people and ecosystems, and those who are least able to cope will be the hardest hit by this. We know that no action is not an option, and we have to do this on the back of an increasing energy crisis, looking at a mixed bag of options for the future, and understanding how we can give security and confidence to our residents about the future, but also to embed in them the seed of change, which we cannot do this individually or on our own. We are not an island. We have to look at change together. So I'm asking this to be the catalyst for that. Together we take the future forward of climate change in this sub-regional area. Last November, the COP26 in Glasgow provided outcomes that we can build on, I believe, and almost 200 countries agreed the Glasgow Climate Pact, which keeps alive the hope of limiting the rise in global temperature to 1.5 degrees, and combined with increased ambition and action from countries, 1.5 remains in sight. And it is hard, but we do need to keep that focus in mind. It will only be achieved if every country delivers on what they have pledged, and a drive for action on mitigation, adaptation, finance and collaboration. And talking about every country and coming together at this time when, after 80 years of peace in Europe, we're seeing what's happening, feels a difficult conversation. But it is a conversation we have to keep having, and I believe that we will, despite all the attempts not to. So it's really important, because if we're going to leave a legacy for my children and the children beyond, and we have with us today members of the Youth Parliament and young people, this is something that we have to have that conversation about, because seldom do we ask our children what they want us to give them. But I think this is one of those asks that we should be saying today. So I'm going to wind up a little bit. We were a little late in starting. Can I encourage you in the breaks to have those conversations, find out who people are, open up conversations about what you're all doing, and network and make contacts for the future. I have a couple of housekeeping points, which I probably should have started with. I am being reminded about that. Firstly, if anyone today would like to have a lapel mic, you need to go to the back and log that, and we will get that sorted. We need to also set, there's the usual things. This is a paperless event, of course. Why wouldn't it be, says she, reading paper. But it is technically a paperless event. I think we have to be aware that we are on the back of COVID, so please be as cautious as you can and respect people's views about how they would want to be approached and whether face masks are the thing of today or not. Absolutely understand that. Hand sanitizers available, you've got it on your table, and in the event of a fire, I've got my colleagues from Warwickshire Fire here. In the event of a fire, a meeting point is in the car park outside Radcliffe buildings. The exits are clearly marked, I think you can see. And you might see our photographer, Dennis, going around. Here he is. So please do be there. We want to try and capture this event with as many mug shots of us all as we possibly can. So it looks exciting, it looks engaging, and it looks fun. So and remember to smile. It's always a good thing. And we are going to be live streaming this event as well. So we will be putting those on the websites after this. The breakout sessions, some of them will be here, some of them will be in Radcliffe House. So just allow yourself enough time to get between one and the other. And finally, we will be tweeting throughout the event, and if you would like to join us with the virtual conversation, you can follow at Warwickshire_CC and tweet on the hashtag CW Climate Change. I think I've done it, hopefully. Thank you all very much for what you're going to be contributing to, not only today, but the future of this area in how we work together to improve and try to help the climate change agenda in this area. Thank you all very much. And invariably, I forgot one thing, and we are really fortunate that George has mentioned Margot James, who is the chair of the Coventry Climate Change Board and executive chair of WMG. She hasn't been able to actually join us today, but we have got 2 video contributions. The first one will be from the Mayor of the West Midlands, Andy Street, who again wanted to be with us but has not been able to manage diary commitments. So we will first of all have Andy contributing towards us, and then we will go straight through to Margot James' contribution as well. So without further ado, I will leave someone to play the video.